Saya Wallach, CEO of Cooperative Business New Zealand, which is the peak body for cooperatives, mutuals, and member-owned businesses in New Zealand. So thank you, listeners, for joining our Leader Conversation series, where senior leaders and subject matter experts share their knowledge and their insights on the cooperative or mutual model. And I'm joined today by Ashleigh Buchanan, who was the winner of the Cooperative Business New Zealand 2024 Emerging Leader of the Year Award. Ashleigh is Operations Manager, People Capabilities at Co-op Business New Zealand member Southern Cross Health Society. Now, Southern Cross is a friendly society, and that's a type of mutual organisation that it's owned but not governed by its members, and its members tend to be individuals who contribute to a common fund, which is then used to provide benefits to those in need. And friendly societies are created to offer benefits like health insurance, life insurance, savings plans, and other sort of welfare services to their members. And here in Aotearoa, New Zealand, there's a very long history of friendly societies, with the first ones being formed in about the 1860s. So with that background, welcome, Ashleigh.
Thank you. Thank you for having me today.
Yeah, my absolute pleasure. So congratulations on your award. And I just wanted to kick off with your journey with Southern Cross Health Society. So you started in the contact centre. And so what motivated you to take that first step into a different kind of role? And then how has that evolved over time for you?
Sure. So I was and I am still very motivated by, and I find a lot of joy and reward in being in service to my communities. So joining Southern Cross all those years ago was a way that I could serve my community. And since joining Southern Cross, my role has evolved somewhat to focus on leadership, especially in our service functions. And I've transitioned through a number of leadership roles at Southern Cross, and I am finding holistic fulfillment through leading my function and also my voluntary roles that focus on diversity, equity, inclusion, and cultural uplift. So while I started as a consultant serving our members, I still believe that I am in service of our members in a slightly different way, and certainly in service of my people that I work with at Southern Cross and that I lead in our member services function. So I was motivated to find a way to serve my community, and I think that that's still very much what I'm trying to do in different aspects and different roles at Southern Cross.
Oh, fantastic. That community service aspect, I think, is something that I've noticed personally in a number of conversations with cooperatives and mutuals, across New Zealand, that people exist to figure out what can they do for their members, not what can they get from their members. So it's a
Mhm.
totally different mindset, I think, and often to commercial roles. So you mentioned that you'd stepped into senior leadership roles. And one example I know is you were seconded as head of department. So how did that sort of progression into more senior roles shape your vision as a leader?
Mm, such a good question. Um, I learned that patience and trust in your leaders and your function is paramount to your success when you're in senior leadership roles. The need to invest in people was reinforced as I navigated my secondment, and it was also strongly reinforced in me that backing myself is absolutely imperative. So I guess stepping into the senior leadership space really cemented that leadership is my passion and it is my career trajectory. And I proved to myself that I could do it and do it well. So my time in my secondment really helped me plan and shape the next 10 years of my life, which is a really comforting feeling to know where you're going and how you're going to get there. So to have that direction and know where I'm heading was probably the best takeaway from being in that senior leadership role. Um, and I really treasured that time, and I think that it really refined the scope of what I believe leadership to be, and really helped me put my steps in place to get to where I'm going over the next 10 or so years.
Amazing. So you also touched on earlier some voluntary roles. So I believe you were also co-chair of the Diversity, Equity and Inclusion Committee.
Mhm.
Was that one of those voluntary roles that you were mentioning?
Yes, yes,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Okay.
Yep.
And I guess that that kind of function. must have delivered you different challenges. So what kind of challenges have you observed organizations face when they're
Mm,
trying to create that kind of inclusive workplace? And then from the Southern Cross perspective, what did you do to overcome them?
sure. I think establishing inclusivity in the workplace looks and feels really different for each person. And as with many organizations, resource and time present as our typical and biggest challenges to this important work. I think we combat that quite well with our community and our connection. And at Southern Cross, we also have our trademark behaviours and values, which provide everyone with a sense of comfort that this is how we do things at Southern Cross. So our behaviors and our values are really woven through our organization, and we draw a lot of consistency from the way that these values and behaviors show up for us. So while time and resource and energy is probably our biggest challenge, we have this undercurrent of community and connection, which enables us to continue to progress work in the DE&I space in a meaningful way. And while we might not be able to deliver at the same pace as some of our wider enterprise initiatives, we still have this sort of hum churning in the background, and at times that's enough for us. I think this space will always be a work in progress, but I think that over the last little while at Southern Cross, we have demonstrated, especially from our executive leadership team, some real commitment to evolving the space and to increasing our pace of change relative to DE&I, and really cement the practices required to be best in industry. When it comes to diversity, equity, and inclusion. So I'm really passionate and really positive about the direction that we're heading in this space, and I think that we'll do really well here.
So do you think, talking about how you embed this through an organization, is measurement something that you consider being important in diversity, equity, and inclusion in terms of figuring out, where did you start as an organization and then where are you moving to?
Yes, I think measurement is really important to demonstrate that tangible progress. I
Mm,
think it's layered with complexity in that what we try to measure typically in the DE&I space is contentious, emotive, and at points in time, especially when I think about data sovereignty, for example,
mm,
it's a challenge to collect and hold that information and ensure that our people feel trust in
yeah.
us to collect and hold that information. So it really is a work in progress, and I think that those tangible measures are really, really important, and it's just about how we collect and protect the information to demonstrate how we're progressing.
Mm. Yeah, so it sounds like the work that you've been doing could absolutely, be incredibly useful to some other members, that may not be anywhere near as maybe, as able to resource this kind of
Mm,
activity within their entities. So I know that one of the really tangible, I guess, external facing things that you've done is bilingual job postings. And I guess for something that might seem so simple, what kind of impact have they had on fostering that kind of cultural inclusivity within
mm.
Southern Cross, and even with, I guess, the types of people that you might attract into roles?
Sure. I think when we first approached this idea, at least from my perspective, it was a bit of an ode to the diversity of the people within member services in our current state. I believe, and I think that I'm right, in that the contact centre in our member services function is the most diverse unit within Southern Cross, and I really wanted to demonstrate to our external talent who we are from the get-go,
Mm.
and being able to translate our job postings into Te Reo Māori, signaled to our talent pools that we're really invested in ensuring that cultural inclusivity is a core part of how we work at Southern Cross. I think that we had great success when we posted that ad. I think we had maybe double or triple the amount of applications that we typically do. And I think that it gave our internal teams reassurance that we value them and we appreciate and acknowledge the value that they bring to the workplace through being themselves and through representing their unique cultures and the parts of their cultures that are really important to them. So I love that we were able to do that, and I think that it signals both internally and externally that we're committed from the beginning, to ensuring that cultural inclusivity is a key part of what we do.
Fantastic. So just thinking about the future a little bit now.
Mm,
So if you take a look, maybe the next sort of between 2 to 5 years. So what kind of personal goals do you have as a leader, and then how do you see those connecting with your contribution to furthering Southern Cross's mission?
sure. My goals as a leader in health and business around uplifting our communities, and in particular, I guess our Māori and Pacifica communities, ones that I obviously have deep connections to. And I do believe that these communities are our secret sauce on our journey to greatness. And I believe that the people within these communities can offer so much value to our progress towards health and well-being here in Aotearoa, and also to our economy and to our business sector. I think there's a lot of untapped resource in that space and a lot of gold with those people and with those communities. And I think that with Southern Cross and with our mission, I'm very aligned to investing in seeing New Zealanders be happy and healthy. And I believe that that's at the heart of the work that we do at Southern Cross. So my goals personally seem to fit really well into what we're trying to achieve as an organization. And I hope to contribute to our mission at Southern Cross through leveraging my leadership skills and uplifting those around me, and showing that health and well-being is for everybody, and there's no barriers that we can't lift to ensure that all New Zealanders of all communities, of all ethnicities, can be happy and healthy and thrive here in Aotearoa.
Well, that's such a, I guess, a fantastic and positive contribution, and that really relates back to your discussion at the very beginning about that kind of being underpinned by service and desire to serve the community, and it just fits in so well with Southern Cross's mission.
Indeed, yep.
So, just thinking now about the cooperative model. So, they're co-ops, regardless of what sector they're in, really are built on shared values, and a couple of those shared values are democracy uh, and community. So, how do you see those two values reflected in your work and your leadership approach?
That's a great question. I think democracy and community are the core foundations of my approach to leadership, and I think that through the way that I was raised and my role models in life, democracy and community have always been a focus and a center point and a place to come back to if you're ever out there in the world and feeling like you're losing your direction a little bit. I think of myself as a servant leader, and I believe in the collective setting our direction and our ways of working. And I believe that each person has a voice, and that voice should be shared. And I think that's actually quite typical of the leadership at Southern Cross. So I think democracy and community comes naturally to me and to many of the leaders that I work with at Southern Cross. So I don't know what came first, whether it was our values or our leaders, but the sense of democracy and community is um, the way that we exist at Southern Cross and the way that we progress our initiatives and the way that we contribute to our communities and to New Zealand as a whole. And I think the unique qualities that each leader brings with those I guess those core foundational principles sitting underneath is what makes it all work really well together. So, um, yeah, I think that it's just so much a part of who we are and who I am.
Yeah, and I think what you've touched on there as well, really when there's so much alignment and so much alignment between the spoken mission and the actions of members and the actions of people, that really contributes to how enduring some cooperatives and mutuals are in New Zealand. They're very, very long lasting organizations. And I truly believe that part of the success of these organizations is that very clear alignment, regardless of whether it's, community members, stakeholders, leadership team, etc., all pulling in the same direction. So yeah,
Yeah,
great
absolutely,
what you
absolutely.
described. Okay, so coming on to the final question now. So again, just reiterating, you won the Emerging Leader of the Year award in 2024. So what did that sort of accolade mean to you personally and professionally?
I think winning this award uh, and being recognized by industry has given me huge amounts of motivation to continue with my work and grow in my capability, with the end goal being to give back. I think I was, reflecting on when I won the award and all of the congratulations that came afterwards. I was deeply humbled by the amount of recognition that I received, and I really cherish it. Um, it is a work in progress of mine to get better at accepting acknowledgement and praise. But I am really proud of myself, and I feel like I share this win with all of those that have supported me, and all of the leaders out there that work in service with a goal to give back. So, yeah, I think professionally and personally, it has meant so much to me, and I'm so motivated off the back of winning that award, and I am really excited to see future leaders win this award, and continue on the pathway to giving back in this style.
Amazing. That is, I'm very delighted to hear that. And I guess, before we wrap up, do you have any final words that you would like to offer the audience before we close?
Uh, Sure. I mean, I would really, really like to thank Cooperative Business New Zealand. I think that bringing us together in the way that you have has given us a lot of opportunity to connect with like-minded people and like-minded organisations that are really striving to improve things for New Zealanders. And I think, if your work fills your heart, then you're doing the right work. And then I would just encourage anyone to keep pushing on with the work that they're doing, because I think if you can go home and you're aligned with your soul, you're doing the right thing, and the right thing for others as well.
Amazing. Fantastic, Ashleigh. Well, thank you so much again for your time today. It's been an absolute pleasure speaking with you and hearing about your work and your career at Southern Cross. And congratulations once again. So for anyone wanting to engage on the co-op mutual or member-owned business model and to be part of our network, or if you're considering establishing a co-op here in New Zealand, please do get in touch. And thanks very much, everyone, for joining us today. And we look forward to speaking with you on the next Co-op Leader Conversation.